Islam, Islam, Islam. I am your host, Chief Justice Durand with Murrell for the Sheik. This platform is called the Sheik, where we demonstrate universal law, sovereign law, Moorishe Law, supreme law, okay? I am Chief Justice Durand with Murrell in capitis diminutio nolo, in propria persona sub juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. This is a sovereign, living, ancient, Article 3, Moorish American, Al-Moroccan, consular court action. I am sovereign, living Justice Durand with Murrell, in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sub juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. My free chosen national appellation is Ogunwole Supreme 7 Solution Ill, in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in proprio persona sub juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are the original indigenous, sovereign, ancient Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our credit, and our energy are hereby invested and hereby vested, not invested, vested in ourselves. For we are the people who are the original, indigenous, natural, divine, ancient empire state of Morocco and the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We hereby exercise all sovereign rights at this time, at all points, and at all points in time non-pro-tonque. We are the most ancient sovereign court, both in heaven and the earth. When you ride on the wave of truth, you travel differently. You know, as they say, you travel in light years. You travel differently because you travel consciously. You travel lightly, okay? Because life has to be seen for what it is, which is for what you created to be. Because you are the law. You are the supreme law of the land. We are the supreme law of the land. I'm referring to the Moorish American nationals, Moors, the landowners, the creditors, the chiefs, the lords, if I haven't already said that. And we are that from the everlasting past until the never-ending days to come. And when you continue to evolve, you begin to see things much more clear. Because it says until the never-ending days to come. And that's how infinite our knowledge is. That's the extent of our power, which has no limits. When you come to over and understand that, you in your power. I'm honored, I'm grateful, I'm appreciative for being who I am, where I am, and experiencing the energies of this day and time. This is a landmark, as you can say. It's a stepping stone. It's a monument, a time for celebration, a time to shout. You know, the prophet said, I brought you something to shout about. When someone brings you the truth, that's something to shout about, fam. And you know, I've been doing this for some time, and it's natural. And when you do things naturally, and you let that nature set in, and you just be the word, you just be the truth, you know, you just be who you are. You have reached the pinnacle of that which life was meant to spin. I just got that part. I was just telling Congress the other day how many chapters I had memorized back in the day when I was a young Moorishe American, studying my lessons diligently, faithfully. Let me see. I'm gonna read something from here, but it's a couple of things I wish to read. One, what I was just reciting, I want to finish that out. Okay, let me just go here for now. This is chapter 39, Holy Instruction from the Prophet, Pinnacle Wisdom. And this here is divine law, okay? So we cover divine law too, which it all ties in. Because without this law, it ain't no law. Because this is Moorishe law, spiritual law. In instruction 11, it says, a good death is better than an evil life. Strive therefore to live as long as thou oughtest, not as long as thou canst. While thy life is to others worth more than thy death, it is thy duty to preserve it. See, only a man of wisdom can carry out those instructions, okay? A man or woman of wisdom. Something else on my mind that I want to touch on that I thought about earlier, and I don't know if it's approved by Spirit, because I'm waiting for Spirit to give it to me or re-download it for me. And I don't think it's there. But what I do wish to say on top of my honors is that knowing who you are is essential. And I like to express that the law is that you have to proclaim your nationality. You have to learn who you are and proclaim who you are and be who you are in this day and time, because it is the law. And it is the law. It always been a law, but we reiterating that, we reiterating or restating the law because it's essential. The people have been misled to believe in a lie, and since we are the law, then for the benefit of our people, we will enforce the law, so ones will know the law and be the law and benefit from the law. You're not Negro, you're not colored, you're not black, okay? You have a nationality, you have an identity. You just wasn't raised with it. And I do wish to read something, if I could pull it briefly. And I think I can. I know I can. Once I think I can. Okay. And I like to read this one piece because the law was enforced on one people or other people, particularly those that came in this country from other countries, but it wasn't forced on you. Why? They didn't want you operating in law. Those that were once in power. And that's part of what since I said that, there's a new perspective, and it is big, and it just hit me recently. So it's like I elevated more from that revelation. And now I have to practice on that level, because we're constantly evolving, okay? So there's constantly transformation going on. There's constantly changes being made within self. So it gets greater and better. And as I sit and watch previous videos, I see where I hadn't understood certain things because I use certain choice words. Like now, we don't have to worry about no enemy. We don't have to worry about nobody controlling and running our government. We don't have to worry about nobody controlling and dominating on our land. You know what I'm saying? Because we're in control of our government and we're in control of our land. Okay? So there's no opposition that we have to worry about or be concerned with other than ourselves, because we are who we say we are. And being who we are, we can bring about the necessary positive, high vibrational, and necessary changes for the benefit of ourselves, and uplifting the fallen humanity, because that's what the prophet came to do, to uplift us from the unwholesome depths of society, back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah, with our Father God Allah. And you can't be your best self if you don't know yourself. So nationality is the order of the day. And with the understanding that we are who we are, it means it's time to live, it's time to thrive, it's time to run a government. It's time to make the necessary decisions that need to be made for the best interest of ourselves. The will of man makes possible the actions of the holy breath. If will of man and the will of Allah are one, the resurrection is a fact. Who else you got to worry about? Nobody. The subjects are being subjects. And they're going to be subjects as long as you refer to them as subjects for who they are. If you call them anything else, then they're going to be obligated to perform because you gave the order. Don't give no orders that you don't want to be carried out. Give the orders. In other words, call everybody for who they are in law. Means you got to know law. You know what I'm saying? And then enforce the law. The peace of society depends upon justice, the happiness of individuals on the safe enjoyment of all their possessions. And we live in that society. Why? Because we created that society. Okay? Why? Because we're the chief justices. We're the supreme law of the land. And what we say goes. Okay? I love my people, and I desire their unity and minds back to their own free national and divine standards, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. Negro, unconstitutional. Black, unconstitutional. Color, unconstitutional. Ethiopian, unconstitutional. B's and H's and N's, unconstitutional. When you're being unconstitutional, you're violating the law. You're violating your own law. The concept that we were once kings and queens, which technically we've always been kings and queens. Nobody can take our power. We just went to sleep. But now we woke. We know who we are, and we're going to be who we are, okay? And in being who we are, we get to finally live prosperously, abundantly, happily, freely, peacefully, lovingly, you know what I'm saying? And in justice, okay? By claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon other American citizens alike. Who's other American citizens? You. You've been sitting in the midst all this time serving the biggest purpose of all, but missing the point. You know what I'm saying? Because you are the point. But you weren't treated like the point, and you waiting to be treated like the point instead of you acknowledging yourself as the point, as the source to all things. Okay? In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standard of law by name and principle, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issues and names formed by their forefathers. Okay? I've often have expressed that in order to know where you're going, you got to know where you come from. Why is that? The reason that is because there's been people that came before you. It's like when that baton, if that's what they call it, is passed on to you. You got to understand what you're accepting. You got to understand the responsibility and the dedication, the faith in what you're being called to do. You got to have a clear conception. So it means you got to do some study. You got to do some research. You got to do some analyzation of self, your higher self and your lower self, your past and your present, because you consist of more than what you think. And when you understand that you are your ancestors and y'all one, then you know what they know, okay, as well as what you know. And with that knowledge, you can now move forward and know what steps to take. And keep in mind, we are at peace. We are not at war. I said we are at peace. We are not at war. I said we are at peace. We are not at war with nobody. Everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because it's how we intend for it to be. Everybody gonna be they self, and we're gonna all move in harmony with one another. Okay? We're not gonna disturb each other's peace. In other words, all law enforcement, when y'all encounter or approach a Moorishe American national, and these brothers or sisters inform you that they are Moors or Moorishe American nationals, they are to be left alone, because they are the supreme authority and no one has jurisdiction over us. We are the law, we are the government, and you all are subject to us. That means we don't give our rights up for you to make any decision concerning us. You don't have delegation of authority because we didn't give you no authority. Your place is to do what you're ordered and instructed to do by the Moors. not the other way around, because that establishes peace within our society on our land. That is the law. And that's for all executive branch in particular that I'm speaking to, because I'm talking to the subjects, make a correction, subjects in the office of law enforcement, okay? Subjects in the office of police, subjects in the office of sheriff, subject in the office of United States Marshals, subject in the office of state troopers, subject in the office of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. You know what I'm saying? And all those others that I haven't mentioned, that are part of the subjects in the office of law enforcement. Okay? And we shall live a prosperous, abundant life as we determine. Okay? We have claimed back our vast estate, our heritage. You know what I'm saying? And we intend to make things as beautiful, or create a heaven on earth as beautiful as we can make it, okay? For all to enjoy according to our will, okay? With that being said, I'd like to go into another piece of law from a booklet that I have, that I got from Arby Bay Publication. Okay, and I like to read from a particular section, comprehending national domicile as it relates to mailing locations and address and SSNs. Reference, request for proof of address. I'm gonna read this small section and hopefully elaborate. I have submitted a mailing location which is absolutely in use and verifiable. It is first to note that as a national, my national domicile, heredes in North America, if I'm not mistaken, our natural domicile is the state of Morocco, okay, which is the land of our matriarch. Okay, if I heard that correctly, by the Empress. Okay, there are municipal domiciles, quasi-national domiciles, and national domiciles. One lives and has an address under the municipal domicile and the quasi-national domicile. However, one who is a national, as I am a Moor, American national, is not possessive of an address, as it potentially alters status and speaks to matters of lawful jurisdiction, etc. Thus, a mailing location is given in the location wherein one lays their head. Their private domain remains private. Essentially, you are asking for the locations or locations of where I lay my head. Asking me for where I lay my head is equivalent to me asking the CEO of your corporation, which is not their corporation, everything belongs to the Moors. Or for that matter, asking you and any employee where he or she or they and their family lay their heads. In other words, right at the top is none of your business. Okay? I simply have the right of which I exercise to remain private and to be afforded all respect for same and to not be denied any right, privilege, or service because of that fundamental procurement. Denying for same is moral duress, as they mention here in this pamphlet. The Moors are non-domestic and domicile. No, non-domestic and non-domicile, when it comes to the mailing address and mailing location and addresses. Because we are the landowners, we are the creditors, we are the heirs to this land, our ancient ancestral land, by primogeniture. Okay. It's got some other nice information in here, but I will cover that another day. I'm gonna try to keep the video as short as possible, brief and short and as possible. Peace and grand rising. All enjoy the rest of your Monday, second day of the week. Keep love on your mind. Stay high vibrational. Continue to distinguish the truth from falsehood, your high from your low, so you can get clarity and stay focused on your path so you can continue to evolve and be your higher self, your best self. Peace, love, and happiness, fam. You have a great one.